What's going on, guys? Today we are working on the R32. We're going to be replacing my subframe bushings because they're just trash. It's been raining the past couple days and I may or may not have dropped the clutch and the wheel we're just hopping, and that's just not good. So today we're going to fix that by changing the subframe bushings, something that also needs to be done on my 240, but that's gonna have to wait. We're gonna get the whole energy suspension master kit for the 240 because it's all stock arms. So here's our bushings. Got the GKtech poly bushings. We are going to set these bushings up as the OEM height for the subframe. So we're gonna have this be on the top of the subframe and this be on the bottom. If you flip it over, it raises the subframe, I think 10 or 15 millimeters, something like that. We're gonna keep it stock because I have stock suspension. I don't have coilovers yet. So we have the car up in the air and I sprayed this freeze off stuff. Sprayed it over everything. We have to disconnect the brake lines and take the exhaust off, the sway bar. Basically everything that's going to the back end has to come off. So we'll take the tires off and we'll get the brake line disconnected. So we got the sway bar off, but we're trying to take the exhaust off, and at the cat, the bolts are just way too rusted. So we're gonna try and take it off at the downpipe up there, but we have to drop the car, move the car back, and then jack the whole car up. Well, we got the exhaust off, and it's just a mess. I need to get rid of this cat. I ended up rounding that nut trying to take this off. We're gonna start her up, and we're gonna see how she sounds, because she's gonna be a lot louder. It sounds so cool, but it's way too loud. Well, that was a lot of fun, but now we have to get back to work. So we have to take the brake lines off. The e-brake lines, we can disconnect them up there. We don't have to mess with the whole drum assembly. We'll take the axles and the drive shaft off because I want to swap this diff into the 240 and put the 240 diff into here because the ratios are different, and I want the longer ratio in this car because it's my daily. So I'm using way too much gas, going 80 miles an hour at like 3,700 RPM. And then we'll drop the subframe and then take the bushings out. So we've made a lot of progress. We have the drive shaft off and the diff is almost ready to come out. We've got the axles unbolted. So we're gonna pull the diff and then we'll get ready to drop the subframe. And then once everything's out of here, we can go to the 240 and we can get the diff out of that. So we got the diff out, and this axle here came with the diff that I have in my 240, and they are the same. So we are going to be able to run this in the 240. It took longer than I thought, but we're going to start by getting these top two out. We're going to try using the C-clamp rather than burning them and seeing how that works. Alright guys, we have all the bushings finally out. It was a real pain, but we got them out. So now we're going to grease these ones up, and they're actually two-piece. So this piece is going to go on the top side, and then the skinny piece is going to go on the bottom. So we got all the new bushings in. It was way easier than it was to take the old ones out. So we have one of the old ones right there. It's just such a pain. So now we're going to take this R32 diff and throw it into the 240. And take the 240 diff, throw it into the R32. So this is the diff that was in the 240. It's a J30. It's got the 5-bolt axles and it's a 4.08 ratio. So we should have slower acceleration but a higher top speed with this. At 80 miles per hour, I should not be at almost 4,000 RPM. So it's day 2. We had to stop because we needed some gasket maker for the diff and everywhere was closed. We also picked up more gear oil, some shop towels, and bolts for the dry shaft because on the R32 they were just rounded, so I actually cut them off. So that diff is sealed. Now we're going to go over the 240, put the Skyline diff in it, opened it up, changed the fluid. So we got the diff in, but unfortunately we can't hook the drive shaft up because the drive shaft bolts that I have are a little bit too big. There's a notch in the drive shaft and the bolts are just too big. They don't sit in the notch, so we'll have to get the correct ones later on, but for now we can throw everything back on the R32. So we got our exhaust back on. So now the last thing that we have to do is bleed the brakes. So we're taking the front tires off and then we will start with this tire and then work our way towards the master cylinder. So we have the car back on the ground. So now we can let it warm up. Dude, the e-brake locks up really good. So the car feels so much better. I'm very, very happy. Way longer than I thought it was going to be, but we could have had everything done yesterday, but the stores were closed, so we didn't have time to go get new gasket maker, but we were able to finish it today relatively quickly, so I'm very, very happy about that. Huge thank you to Julio who helped me out both these days. I have his Instagram here. We'll give him a follow. I'll also have a link to the subframe bushings that I used in the description. You can go pick them up for yourself. That is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you did. Comment down below and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.